This next segment, we have something called trivia questions. And this is just going to be random 3 questions. I'm going to ask them. You guys can pause the video, comment down below, or just guess by yourselves. I'm going to give you guys a list of names. You guys get to decide, pick between for who you think is the answer to the question. So first, this current quarterback almost ended his NFL dream to become a professional golfer. Who is he? Phillip Rivers, Tony Romo, Eli Manning, Andrew Luck.
Alright,
AJ, you could go first.
So, I don't know, like, if I could break down this question.
I don't really think you can.
So...
I tried to pick the whitest quarterback I could possibly think of.
So, I'm just thinking about it from, like, a standpoint where, like, did this quarterback do bad in college and he didn't think, like, he was going to get an NFL career? Something like that. So, my guess is going to be Eli Manning.
Okay. Jared, what do you got?
I'm gonna eliminate Andrew Luck, thinking that, you know, he's young. Everyone knew he was a consensus #1 overall pick. He knew, you know, this was his future. I think I want to go with Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers. You're both actually wrong. It was Tony Romo.
Wow.
Almost ended his NFL career.
He was undrafted. That's a good point.
To become a golfer. Alright, the next question we got is, pay attention, who have been the top 4 most yards from scrimmage leaders since 2008? You gotta put these in order from greatest to least, so pay attention to the names. If you need me to repeat, I will. Adrian Peterson, Matt Forte, Chris Johnson, Calvin Johnson.
Alright, so I have a good feeling who's #1, and that would be Matt Forte, because he's a great runner and a great catcher out of the backfield. He's probably had like a couple seasons where he's had 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing, right? He's probably had like 1 or 2.
Close, if not 1,000, very close.
So
he had almost 100 catches.
So he has to be 1. He has to be.
I think so.
Second one, as of 2008, I would say Adrian Peterson, but then again, he missed a year. So I'm gonna say Chris Johnson is ahead of him because he's had like the longest stretch of 1,000 yard seasons, like 7 in a row before he got to Jets. Then I'm gonna go Adrian Peterson, and unfortunately Calvin Johnson, just because he's a wide receiver, and wide receivers just don't typically get enough yards like per game as running backs do because they don't get enough catches and enough touches. So my list is Forte, Johnson, Peterson, and then Calvin Johnson.
What do you get, Joe?
I definitely agree with AJ. Matt Forte, definitely #1 with all the rushes he's touched in Chicago. The touches he's got out of the backfield receiving, you know, all the yards, everything. Definitely got to be #1. I'm going to go #2, Adrian Peterson. Although AJ said, like he said, he missed a year, he's also been in the league longer for more seasons than Chris Johnson.
But this is just from 2008. That's the thing.
This is from 2008.
Yeah, from 2008. So it would have been the top 4 most yards from scrimmage leaders since 2008.
I still think I want to go Adrian Peterson. He had that 1 year missed, but now that I know it's from 2008, still...
I'm going to say this, not trying to influence any decisions because I'm not hinting towards anything, so don't mislead me. But I do want to let you know, just to remind you, Adrian Peterson did have a 2,000 yard season.
And so did Chris Johnson.
And so did Chris Johnson.
So it's hard to pick between the two.
So, yeah.
It's just basically who catches out of the backfield more.
So go ahead.
I feel like Adrian Peterson is more of has a bigger role in Vikings offense as opposed to Chris Johnson did as a Titan. Added with the fact that Chris Johnson as a Jet, you know, it did not click for him. So I'm going to go Matt Forte, AP, Chris Johnson, then Calvin.
Alright, so you said Matt Forte, AP, Chris Johnson, Calvin. You would be correct.
Wow.
I'll tell you the actual thing. Matt Forte had 12,718 yards from scrimmage.
Obviously, yeah.
Adrian Peterson trailed him by only about 700, had 12,003 yards. Chris Johnson had 11,654, and Megatron had 10,978.
So that is really weird because Adrian Peterson missed an entire year. So that's actually pretty impressive. I didn't think that. I thought that Chris Johnson, I thought he caught out of the backfield more. So I think that's like more added yards to his total than Peterson. So, but you got the point, so it's fine.
All right. So right now, Jared's in the lead. AJ, you could tie it up right here. Jared, you could pull away. So. Only one Hall of Fame quarterback has thrown more touchdowns in his first 2 NFL seasons than this quarterback. Who is he? Dan Marino, Russell Wilson, Peyton Manning, Derek Carr. Who is it?
Dan Marino is on this list probably just, to throw us off because I think I know that he actually is the one who has the most passing touchdowns in his first 2 NFL seasons. He has the most passing touchdowns, I think. Could you name the 3 besides him again?
It was Derek Carr, Peyton Manning, Russell Wilson.
Peyton got off to a slow start in his career. He threw a lot of interceptions, but I'm not sure if he threw a lot of touchdowns to go with it. I can't remember exactly. I do know, however, that Derek Carr has been among the league leaders in his first 2 seasons in touchdown passes. And Russell Wilson, more of a rushing quarterback. He's that kind of guy that rushes the ball as well as throws it. He doesn't have as many touchdowns as Derek Carr or Peyton Manning, I would say. So I'm going to go with Derek Carr.
Derek Carr?
The only reason I'm not saying Derek Carr is because I don't think that he did good in his first season. He did great last year. He had a lot of touchdowns last year. The 2 years before that, I think he only had in the 20s in touchdowns. That's
still good for a...
So good, but it's not beating a Hall of Fame quarterback in touchdowns in his first 2 seasons. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. Just because when he went there and he started the first game out of that, he brought them to the playoffs, and then the next year... he brought it to the Super Bowl, right?
That's a lot of passing touchdowns.
So, is this in the regular season or just
I'm not sure. I believe it's just in the regular season.
Okay, I'm still gonna say Russell because he did have Golden Tate, and he did have a lot of other players. I can't really think of them now, but he did have a lot of weapons around him.
And he always seems to get it done, whether it be Doug Baldwin or he usually just finds a guy.
Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse. He did have Percy Harvin, but he was mostly injured.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Russell Wilson.
You got Russell Wilson. You got Derek Carr. The answer is Derek Carr.
Wow.
2 points for Jared. So.
Landslide.
The way that this says is the first person who threw the most touchdowns was Dan Marino. I threw him in there to try to trick you guys, which you guys both figured out, so that was good. He threw 68 touchdowns his first 2 seasons, which is literally insane.
That is insane.
It's averaging more than 30 touchdowns per season.
As a rookie,
and then his following year. Derek Carr threw 53, and then Peyton Manning was tied 52 with Russell Wilson 52.
That was
so you guys were both right there. It's just you lost by 1 touchdown, literally, or 2. I guess.
Regardless, no matter who you picked, you're only off by a touchdown.
Basically.
Really.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so now we're done with trivia questions. The next segment is going to be team by team analysis.